Hello and welcome to what is a new series here on the channel with me, Bardon. This series is going to be called Sunless Sunday, so there's no prizes for guessing what day I'm going to be uploading this. Every Sunday we're going to have 2 episodes and we're going to be playing a game called Sunless Sea. It's a game of maritime exploration, and it's very story driven, and the stories are actually very good. And I really like the sense of humor in this game as well. It's set in the universe of Fallen London, which I believe is an online MMO type game, but I've never actually played it myself. I have played this game just a small bit to get used to some of the controls and to see exactly what the game's about and whether it was really something that I wanted to record on the channel. And I've really enjoyed the little bit I've played so far, so I'm really excited to play more and to share it with you. The premise of the game is that a version of the city of London has disappeared down a sinkhole, so it's no longer on the surface of the earth, and it's in a kind of maybe a cavern, and there's also a vast sea, which is they refer to as the Undersea. And that's where we're going to be exploring. So let's get ourselves in and start a new game. So here's the tip here. The greater your engine power, the faster your ship will go, the more fuel it will consume. So let's have a look here now at our start. So starting off, the way the game works is that it's a game of generations. So you start with your first captain, who's going to at some stage die and then pass his legacy on to the next in the family, and so on and so on. And that's one of the main progressions in the game, is that instead of sort of as one captain, it's going to be many captains who eventually save up for a better ship and better equipment and that kind of thing. So our first captain here maybe isn't going to be the guy that gets all the glory, but he is the one that's going to give us a bit of hopefully a solid foundation for what's to come, or at least some lessons learned for future captains. So let's see, captain's making. 3 decades ago, in the reign of Victoria, London was stolen by bats. Now it lies a mile below the surface. It was dreadfully inconvenient for everyone, but it opened a vast black ocean to you. Welcome to the Undersea. Okay, so let's choose a past. Choose a past. Decide who you were and what you want to be. A street urchin. Your urchin gang cast you out when you grew too tall. You took to sea rather than graduate to larger crimes. That last big score was enough to buy you a ship. This will give you a bonus to Vale's skill of subtlety and evasion. A poet. Educated and articulate, you seek sensation at sea. How lucky you had a legacy to spend. Your long-vanished father had a rich patron, it seems. This will give you a bonus to pages, the skill of trickery and knowledge. Veteran of the campaign of 68. You fought in the invasion of Hell. London's armies lost. You survived. Your loot and your pension have bought you a command. This will give you a bonus to iron, the skill of causing direct damage. An ordained priest. You fell from grace. There is nothing left ashore for you. An anonymous benefactor has found his way out for you. Perhaps, at sea, you can overcome your appetites. This will give you a bonus to hearts, the skill of healing, and morale. A natural philosopher. Your peculiar theories on time, blood, and starlight brought you down to the neath, the cavern where London lies. And now they take you out to sea. This will give you a bonus to mirrors, the skill of detection and perception. Okay, so we've a lot of different bonuses here. A poet is one that I'm kind of drawn to. Although street urchin may be nice, because when I played before, I had some difficulty with some pirates and monsters who wanted to sink my ship and did a lot of damage to me. So I got to pick between these two. But a poet will give us a bonus to pages, and also to the skill of trickery and knowledge. So as a lot of the game is driven by collecting stories, maybe a poet is a good one to go for. So we're going to try that at least. Okay, so a wise soul, experience, you have intuition, and your friend, the sly navigator. He's a little vague, but he probably knows what he's doing. Perhaps you can find someone better eventually. So the sly navigator is this guy here. So he's one of, as you can see, we've got 5 slots here. So we've got a navigator, a chief engineer, a cook, a gunnery officer, and a surgeon. And then also here we have a comatose ferret. So he's our mascot as well. But these crew members here, or I suppose they're more than crew members, but basically the positions on the ship, they give us a bonus to each of the ones below. So we've got hearts, pages, veils, mirrors, and irons. And basically you start off with one person who's not very good at their job, and through the generations you can hopefully build an entire retinue here who are going to get better and better as time goes by. Okay, so let's continue. Now we have to choose an ambition. What does winning mean to you? So how are we going to win the game? So first of all, your father's bones. Your father was lost at sea. You never knew him, but you've often dreamed of him. Find and return his remains to London for a decent burial. Now that one is a bit funny to me personally, because now luckily my own father is still alive, but he always says that when he dies, we should put his ashes in an orange box and just float it down the river out to sea. So I think for him, he'd actually be happy with a burial. Let's see. Next we have immortality. Eternal life sounds like something you'd enjoy, and it's said that the presbyter, the ruler of the elder continent, has lived forever. Now living forever is not something that really appeals to me. I'd certainly like to have a long life, but once you've lost those around you that you love, I'm not sure how much motivation you'd have to live on after that. Well, for someone like me at least. Fulfillment. Gather 100 tales, learn all you can of the sea, write the masterpiece, retire. Now that sounds like the kind of adventure that I'd like to go on. Next is wealth. You know how it is to be poor. I certainly do. Now you want a mansion, servants, fine clothes, a family perhaps. Well, I'd like to have a family, but I'm not sure about the servants. And in terms of clothes, and just as long as it keeps me warm, I'm happy enough. And then a private kingdom is locked, so we're not going to do that. So I think we're going to go for fulfillment. So we have to gather 100 tales. Whenever you return to fallen London, you have the option of retiring, but you need to write your masterwork first. Okay, an occurrence. Your objective ambition has now become London's most venerable explorer. Okay. A last scrap of paperwork. Captain, an irregularity with the harbour master's offers. They wish to know what term of address do you prefer ashore. This will determine what people call your captain but your captain's gender is up to you. So we can have Madam, Sir, Citizen, My Lord, My Lady, or just plain old Captain. So I'm going to think, so it says here, Captain will do perfectly well ashore as well at sea. Thank you. Yep, so fine for me. Okay, so looking at the UI here, we got our logbook. So anything significant that happens, a little note is going to come up here. Here in the top left corner, then we have details of our ship. So we got a hull here. So anytime we take damage, at the moment we start with 75 hull, that's going to go down. Then we have basically it's like a speedometer here. So we got 0 is when we're at full stop. 1 is when we're moving forward at normal speed. 2, we're going faster but we're burning more fuel. And -1 and -2 are the same but in reverse direction. Then we have our fuel here. So we start out with 10 fuel, and depending on how quickly we're going, that will determine how fast we burn through our fuel. Next we have our supplies, so basically how much food we have. And I believe each time that the hunger reaches this line here, we consume one of our supplies. And while I was playing through before, I did get to a point where we ran out of food and we ended up having to eat some of the crew. So I'm hoping to avoid that this time around. Then we have terror. So the terror here, whenever we're far from shore or something is happening, or there's like kind of random events that happen through the game, our terror can increase. And that's not good for the morale of our ship. So we need to manage terror. So all of these we basically have to balance as we adventure around. Then over here we have Shadow Stranger, who I'm not sure who that is. And then here we have crew. So we've got 8 out of 10 sailors at the moment. And now I've got to pick my name. So our first name, let's see. So a nice name for a sea captain. Let's just call him Reginald. Okay. Now we've got our lodgings. So I believe that until we come back again, we won't really be able to use our lodgings. But let's have a look in here. So we can actually read the morning papers. So let's do that. The Unexpurgated Gazette, the magazine formerly known as the London Magazine, the spiteful trumpeter news from home. The Echo Bazaar, that enigmatic marketplace, has increased its tax on love stories. The traitor empress has forbidden singing in the street outside her palace. The anarchists of the Calendar Council have inexplicably dynamited a drinking fountain. The Ministry of Public Decency has located and destroyed a nest of gall blighter wasps. Okay, you now have one of this recent news, and that's something I believe we can use to barter when we're out at sea. And then the others are locked, so we won't spend too much time with those. Next we have a passenger. So who is it? Agreed to carry the Nomic Gallivant to the Cumian Canal, or the Iron and Misery Funging Station, or both. History is a horse. Who will prick it with their spurs? He cries to no one in particular. A drop of blood may be as precious as a ruby. Okay, so we're going to take this passenger. I'm not sure where either of those places we need to go are, but I'm sure we'll find them somewhere on our adventures, so welcome aboard. He puffs out his chest. Ruby studs gleam in the lamplight. I knew London had enterprising souls still left in it. I am seeking truths, Captain, which I am told I may find in the Iron and Misery Funging Station and the Cumian Canal. Ideally, I'd learn both, but I could settle for one. For at Port Cecil there will be a contest, and we will change the world with a game of chess. A king will fall. Okay, so we've got that guy now. Let's see. So let's go to London. Visit the Admiralty survey office. So the Admiralty kind of give us quests to do, and it's a way of earning the currency in the game is called echoes. So at the moment we've got 70 echoes, and it's a way for us to earn some more. And also each port that we visit, we can do a port report there, and they'll pay us a fee for each of those reports as well, and they vary by which port it's from and that kind of thing as well. So let's visit the Admiralty. So ask if there's anything in particular they need. These ones we have to use favors, so we don't have any favors yet because we haven't actually done any port reports for them. So this port, speak to our agent there in return. We'll see that you're rewarded. Visit the port below and return to London. You can check the details in your journal at any time. Sorry, bit tongue-tied at the moment. Retrieve strategic information from Gator's Mourn in the Corsair Forest, somewhere not far from home waters. So that's something, apparently it's not too far away from Fallen London, but I've noticed before that you can spend a lot of time going around in circles looking for something that's supposed to be close, but never actually find it. So that's something where once, if we do happen to come across the Corsair's Forest or Gator's Mourn, then we'll fulfill this. But I'm not going to go out of my way looking for it right off the bat. Okay, so that's just done there. So let's go to London again. So we can't visit the university yet. We can't go to the Wolf Stack docks. We could hire on more crew if you want. Okay. We could put a ship in dry dock, so that's when we need to repair it. We could offer passage to a tomb colonist. So the tomb colony, something I forgot to mention is each time a new captain or you start a new game, the position of ports on the map changes, so you can't always know exactly where every place is, but the tomb colony is one place that I believe that kind of is static or close enough to static that we're going to know where it is. So it's going to be pretty much to the north of Fallen London. So let's take a tomb colonist because that's a good thing for us to do. We're going to get some reward for that. It's utterly difficult to die in Fallen London, but when a Londoner is too tatty and wretched to live, they wrap themselves in bandages and take ship for the tomb colonies. Your crew carts these ones aboard in padded coffins. They'll sleep there until the journey is done. Okay, so the tomb colonists is in your hold. Take them north to the colony of Venderbite and sell them there. Okay. So what else? We don't want to hire more crew. We don't want to do that. We can't get a new recruit. Okay, so let's go to the shop. Now what have we got? So we can sell this advice for captains, which we're going to do because it gives us some more echoes here. So now we got 120 echoes and our cargo is 16 of 40. So let's see in terms of what is available from each. So we're going to have to get some supplies and some fuel. So whatever we do, we need to save some money for those. Okay, so what I'm looking for, I'm not sure. Here we are. So mushroom wine is something, this is one thing that I know about the game, and I don't know too much, but if I buy this cask, I can sell it for more than I buy it for up in the tomb colonies. So I'm going to, looking at how much money I have, I think I'm going to buy, let's start with 3. Okay, and then let's go back to the original shop and buy ourselves 1 fuel and 1 supply, and I think 1 more fuel should do us. Okay, so now we're ready to set sail here. So if I press E, that will launch the ship, and we automatically start traveling at speed 1, which is, and what I'm going to do as well is turn my light off because I'm near port. That's basically, having your light on burns fuel as well. It does reduce terror though when you're out at sea, but now that we're close to port, we don't need to have the light on. So we're gonna head out here and look for a port close to home to see if we can get a port report. So there's a ship over there which looks like we can dock with, but I don't want to do that at the moment. So one of the islands that I found last time, which was close to London, had 3 sisters on it, and I'm looking around to see if I can find, I think this is here, Hunter's Keep. So we just have to find now where to dock. And this is a good way. There's the dock around up to the left. This is a good little start to our adventures here. We can pop in and we can say hello to the sisters, and each of them have their own separate storyline. And once you talk to the sisters, that will be I think the end of our first, so cut the engines and dock, it'll be the end of our first episode here. So Hunter's Keep. A hump of dark rock swayed in mist, like 100 other undersea islands. Well, from my last visit, I don't think this is quite like all of the other islands. But here's a grand house, windows aglow, lawns impossibly green and lush in the false starlight. Great gravel paths. You stand on the dock at the sea as the sea nudges the ship's sides. An unexpectedly warm breeze carries the faintest trace of lavender. So that's probably from one of the sisters. So we can present ourselves at the house. We can walk in the gardens. We can reconnoiter the island. And we can spy in the house. So I don't really want to spy in the house right now. So let's present ourselves at the house instead. They will have heard your ship come in. Why hide? Which is pretty sensible advice. Knock and enter. A maid with smouldering topaz eyes shows you into the parlour, where 3 young women wait. A visitor, the youngest cries. The next youngest chuckles. The eldest sighs. Do excuse the indecorum, she says. Visitors are rare. You are very welcome. I am Cynthia. The noisy one is Phoebe. The cheerful one is Lucy. You're in good time for lunch. Will you join us? I'm sure that we will. Okay, so now we have a choice between which sister we're going to lunch with. So we can luncheon with the sister Cynthia. Cynthia is the eldest, melancholy, pensive, occasionally dramatic. Luncheon with the sister Lucy. Lucy, the middle sister, is sunny, restless, prone to giggles. Or we can luncheon with the sisters Phoebe. Phoebe is soft-voiced, watchful, unpredictable. So we have to pick one, but we're going to pick one in the next episode because that brings us to the end of this one. If you have enjoyed it, please consider liking, subscribing, and posting a comment. And I really do hope to see all of you next time. Goodbye.